Hi, this is Mr. Scanes coming at you from my basement. So this is my first video for the fundamentals of snare drum. So in this video we will learn how to set up the snare drum and how to hold the sticks. The first thing you want to do, take your snare drum stand. Now it may be all folded up like this. You'll want to, there are a number of wing nuts on it first of all that you'll want to loosen. I'm going to turn this top part upright. See it there? Tighten that up. Then one of the most important things right now are the legs. So the legs, you'll loosen the wing nut. You want to spread these legs out on the stand so they're nice and wide. That'll give our snare drum stability when it's on the stand, and it won't be easily knocked over. So make sure you spread the snare drum stand legs out nice and far. They don't have to be flat to the floor, but get them out there so we have some stability to the drum and it won't get knocked over easily. The next thing you want to do, adjust it for height. It's the one in the middle. So you can do this. The rod moves up and down. I'm going to keep this low because I'm sitting today. If you're standing, you'll want to have your snare drum waist high. This is the general rule of thumb if you're standing. If you're sitting, as long as the snare drum is above your thighs and your knees, you'll be good to go. So once you have the snare drum stand set up, take your snare drum. Now, putting the snare drum on the stand can be a little tricky. And we want to be really careful with this step because we don't want to puncture the bottom head. This bottom head where the snares are is paper thin. So if there's any metal part of the stand sticking up when you put the drum on it and it hits the head, there's the potential to just rip it. So we want to be careful that the top of our snare drum stand is spread out far enough so we don't have these parts here on the bottom head. Sometimes these rubber protectors are missing, and definitely if you accidentally set the bottom snare drum head on there, there's the potential to just destroy the head. So make sure these are spread out properly so they won't be on the bottom head. You can adjust it later if they're too far out. Again, take this, turn it over, and look all around the drum to make sure you are not setting it on the stand incorrectly. So once you have it placed on the stand, and I suggest that you put the throw-off switch on the snare drum. This turns the snares on and off. Where is it? Here. That's off. This would be on. Off. Takes these wires off the bottom head. Have this in front of you when you put it on the stand. And again, check all around to make sure you are not setting the bottom head on the stand incorrectly. So that's about it for setting up the snare drum. And the snares will be right in front of you. They're on, they're off. Different snare drums, the mechanisms work differently how you throw them on and off, so it's very easy to figure out. The next thing I want to show you is how to hold the sticks. So when you get a pair of sticks, the way I hold them, I hold the stick with my thumb and my index right across from each other. If I can give you a good shot of that. I don't use pointers. If we use pointers, that's going to keep the stick from rebounding up. So you're going to pinch it right here, just like you would have a fulcrum on a diving board. Also in the back, we don't want to grip it. We want the stick to move in the back of the hand. Now I typically leave about an inch of the butt of the stick hanging down past the base of my palm on each side. Again, you can see index, fingers around just like that. No gripping back here. And then it can move in the back. For every action out here, we want it to be able to react back here. If we're gripping it back here, again, we're not utilizing the natural rebound of the head when you strike it. The same thing in the left hand. Thumb index, fingers around. This goes straight. I play with this straight down the arm. I don't play with it out the side. That would not give me a good stroke. Right down the middle, so the stick is an extension of your arm. Okay, thumb index, no pointers, no gripping in the back. 1 inch down past the base of the palm, down the center of your wrist. Palms down. Now when I play, I don't have my hands right in front of me like that. My elbows are out, so it's nice and relaxed, and it looks just like that. And when you strike the drum, you want the stick to move straight up and down. And just let the stick come off the head, just like that. Okay, so that's how I like to see my students hold the sticks. It's the way I've held them for years. So you will see some people play traditional. That is common in some of the Cleveland high schools. And it really just depends on how you play the drum, whether it's flat or whether it's tilted. Same thing in marching band. Are you wearing a harness that holds the drum out flat, or are you using a sling and a knee brace where the drum is like this? Then it would make sense. That's where that all came about. Historically, the drums tilted because of the sling and the knee brace, and so drummers played like this. With our modern aircraft carrier aluminum harnesses that they use to hold the snare drums, they hold them out flat in front of you, which enables you to play what we call match grip. Traditional, which you will see from time to time, and match, meaning the left hand matches the right hand. Okay? And that's it. And then, of course, once you're done, make sure that you put your sticks up. We have a black box at Garrett Morgan where the sticks go. Stands go on the bottom of the cabinet. Snare drum goes back on one of the middle shelves. And again, be careful when you're handling the snare drum that nothing is running into the bottom head. Put it in the cabinet carefully where nothing is against this head. Same thing, we also have to be careful with the wire snares. We don't want to be, pulling on them. We don't want something to rip them and bend them. Otherwise, the snare drum won't sound as good. As far as parts of the snare drum, this is what we call the snare head, because the snares, the wire, is against this head. The other head we call a batter head, just for reference, because we hit this side of the drum. And this can take a lot of beating. But the bottom, again, paper thin, be very careful with it. Other parts of the snare drum, again, here's your throw off switch. Takes the snares off, puts them on. Okay, that's it. We have counter hoops, batter head, snare head, snares. So be careful when you're setting it up. Be careful when you're putting it away. See you in class.